Hey everyone. I thought I'd make a bit of a different video right now, and for those who are unacquainted with my channel, I frequently post videos from old Minecraft and Minecraft in dev and Minecraft inf dev, basically the very first versions of the most popular game in the world that were released back in 2009 or 2010. And this is the world that I've been building up for the past several months. It's not as fancy as you would imagine most modern worlds to be, but it's definitely something. And I took a lot of time out of my day to make a world like this, and it got me thinking of all the various things that have happened in the last several months while I was building this world. And since I figured that my audience doesn't know me very much, and most of you guys have just been around for a couple of weeks, and you know me as the guy that basically just made the Minecraft world and now makes videos on it, I thought I'd allow you guys to know me a little bit better by sharing some advice that I think has really helped me rather than just simple world updates. And in this video I really won't be doing anything, I'll just be walking across the world and not really making any progress. This world is seemingly lackluster because I haven't added much to it within the past several weeks as life has kept me busy, and I don't want to make this video about sharing personal details, so I thought giving you guys some advice instead would be quite beneficial. So one of the first things that I noticed is that there are some people in my audience who have truly played through these versions of Minecraft, who have been around since the beta days, and they're merely nostalgic for times like these. They want to learn how things were like back then in the game, and that puts them obviously in a very somber and melancholic mood. And then there are a lot of younger people, like I've gotten people in my comments saying that they were born like a year after this version was made, which makes them roughly like 14 or 15 years old, which is crazy in of itself, considering just how much of this stuff is, just how much of this stuff there is. And to give a rough timeline, like I was born, I believe, I know, um, roughly like a couple years before YouTube and Facebook became like a popular thing. So I was born in the little time frame between like the founding of the World Wide Web and its actual like mainstream usage. So the oldest video on YouTube is still like younger than I currently am, right? So that's a good thing because if there are videos up on the internet that were younger than me, that were older than me, sorry, and not younger than me, there's a difference between the two. I will be scared shitless if there's some stuff just out there on the web that predated me. Obviously there are, but they're like old archive 4chan threads that are no longer available. That's a totally different thing. Like, I don't mind the AOL servers being up and being older than me because nobody uses that. I don't mind the fact that MySpace and Google were around back then, but for there to be like Roblox games that are older than me, well, I can't imagine that reality, but unfortunately that's going to be the reality for many people. Like, imagine knowing that so many people are playing a game before you were born. And that's going to be so many people, like having online games and online lobbies that are older than them. So that's just a little tangent that I wanted to go off on. But I guess it just makes me think about how short life truly is. Not that long ago, I was a kid playing this game, and just recently I was talking to my parents, and I was talking about, how back in the olden days I would just sit on Minecraft all day, and now I'm actually doing stuff out in the real world, and I come back to these videos, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm doing a bit of both. But I suppose it's fair because I'm documenting my journey now, and it's a bit of a more balanced thing. But nevertheless, it's a crazy world that we live in where you can just revert to these old patterns and habits. And here, I just got, I downloaded the Betacraft launcher off the web, and I can just revert back to my childhood and even earlier than that. Because as I may have commented in one of my earlier videos, I started playing Minecraft around beta 1.7.2 or 1.7.3, which is like the first like and most important versions that the Golden Age Minecraft community has really like picked up on, which is the community that is fascinated with older Minecraft versions, because those are supposed to be the best versions in the game. I can't confirm nor deny, I don't remember much from when I played the game during that time. I just remember I was in primary school and there was a kid, and he was basically playing the game on his computer in the library, well, on the library computer, and I had a copy of White Fang by Jack Frost, and I was just like, dude, the pig I remember it clearly. He was on some terrain and there was a pig and he was playing torches around it. I'm like, dude, there's a pig with torches around it. This Minecraft game is just like the Minecraft game that I saw on the Let's Plays from my favorite YouTubers in 2011, including Cool Xbox Gamer Guy, who has 10,000 subscribers. If only I could have 10,000 subscribers someday. That would be crazy if I could have that many subscribers. I would be famous. So, these are just thoughts like that. Whoa. Damn. This truly is a forever world. I remember everything I was doing when I was carving out these mountains, whatever. So, it brings me back to the ad arena in my life and how quickly we all aged. Another thing I really quickly want to talk about is how you're unconscious for the first like 20 years of your life, which I noticed in my own life. For the first 20 years of my life, I was basically just like an unconscious little dipshit. I was a dickhead, right? I didn't know anything that was happening around me, and that's not to take away responsibility for messing my life up to the degree that I did, or making the wrong choices, and claiming that I'm no longer responsible for that because I've gotten over it. That's not what it is. It's me just acknowledging that as human beings, we're thrust into patterns by people older than us. We're put in several situations, and one of the bad things that we do is we let that trauma determine the rest of our life. And right now, I'm heading from that direction into the distant bridge and canal that we made, the tunnel back home. I don't know why. That's just what I feel like doing. How your brain like drives around in GTA or scatters around modern Minecraft worlds. That's what I'm doing right now. Anyways, getting back to the topic, we let these internal traumas affect us. We let them determine who we are as people. And we think, oh, well, my parents didn't really like me when I was younger, and that affects, the way I am now and how fucked up I am now. And my audience, judging by my analytics, is predominantly male. I wonder why that is. I don't know why. For most of my life, most of the audiences I've had on YouTube were predominantly young men. And then whenever I check like other social media apps, I know that like TikTok and Pinterest have like an 80% female rate, but for some reason, whenever I upload to YouTube, it's mostly men watching on their desktop computers, which is totally fine. But for us, speaking as another guy, it's just like if you're shown very little affection by your parents when you're at a very early age, merely speaking from a psychological perspective, that's just gonna fuck up the way you think about relationships in the future because you're gonna think that there's no one out there that's looking out for you. And as you get slightly older and you get into, romantic relationships or even platonic friend groups, when you're around 17, 18, 19, you figure out that that's actually true. That a lot of people that you stick by when you're young aren't going to be there forever. And I was sort of like a late bloomer by the time I finished secondary school or high school, depending on where you're from. Um, I was already like 18 going on 19. Um, if if someone's watching from the UK, that's gonna scare the shit out of them. But no, that was a totally normal age to quit secondary school where I grew up, and it's just like it makes it a very strange scenario where you're older than all of your peers, and that sort of creates an isolation between you and them. Because I remember when a lot of people, and I never had a superiority complex, I never thought I was better than other people. But when a lot of people were just thinking about, like, I don't know, like Pokemon Go or something, I was thinking, like, how badly I just wanted to leave. And not because of Pokemon Go talk, I love that game, but it's just like, because I felt like everything was so deeply unserious. But at the same time, I was such a procrastinator that I didn't actually want a serious life. I didn't want to do anything serious with my life. I didn't want to pick what college I was going to, or be like the overachievers of my school who were constantly thinking about, what they're going to do with their lives and how they're going to be like an orthodontist or whatever. Like the little Asian girls that went to my school. I don't know why it was always the Asian girls, but it was. And I didn't want to be like them either. I sort of had this inner understanding about me that I wasn't an overachiever. I wasn't an underachiever either. Ooh, what a nice view. I wasn't either of those things. I was just sort of a guy who wanted to figure out what he wanted to do with his life. I was a guy that wanted some sort of security and knowing that people will be there for me in the end, and I just never got that. And I feel like when you're a lot younger, you let that stuff really get to you. When you're a lot older, you're just like, oh, nobody cares. That's fine, I'll get over it. But when you're especially young, especially after, growing up in like a household, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad household. Mine certainly wasn't, but one where you feel sort of out of place, like you feel different from your parents, and then you go and try to find a peer group, and you learn that people either fade away or they're massively different from you. That creates like a dissonance in your mind because you're just like, okay, well, I see all these movies and I see all these TV shows where people magically find their place, and when is my turn? And you try to give that place to other people. Clutch, don't even have a water bucket, it wouldn't even work in its version, whatever. You try to give that place to other people, and when you find a lot of cases is that other people are they're either too avoidant to appreciate the sort of that place of safety and of comfort that you give them. They're running away from something that's also in their past, or they think that you're gonna betray them or hurt them in some way, and that also agitates a lot of people. So more than often, those young friendships that you have, for some very psychological reasons, are gonna end. But you should be better than that. Like, you shouldn't let stuff like that affect you, or how you're perceived or how you perceive other people. You shouldn't affect the outcomes of your actions. Listen to this. You shouldn't let the outcomes of your actions determine the inputs that you make, right? You shouldn't let what something is going to do to your life affect the choices that you make in your own life. This seems pretty obvious and self-evident, but hear me out. Like, everything that you pretty much do in life, you do for a reason. Guys go to the gym, and they go to the gym so they can get buff, so they can get girls, right? Guys go to work, and I guess everyone goes to work, right? Dogs have jobs now, but guys go to work, and they want to make more money so they can have a better car, so they can have a better house, so they can put out a mortgage, so they can raise kids in it, and those kids, they go to school so they could get a job, so they could rent a house, so they could have a car. And people forget that all of that is for a reason. Like, there's life in between that, and the real life is truly what happens in between the moments when you're grinding for all that shit. But because so much of our life is entangled in work and being a productive member of society and putting something back forward, which there's nothing wrong with, but if it's soul crushing, then your soul will essentially be crushed if 90% of your life is work. And we can't get all the jobs that we want. Like, we can't all be video game testers and YouTubers and astronauts and whatnot. You can't have your dream job or what you imagine to be normal for most of the time. We can't all be rock stars, or else there'll be nobody out there to listen to us. But I mean, in the end, in the grander scheme of the thing, you gotta think of it as you can't let the outcomes determine the way that you live your life. You should always remember that you can always pull it like a Forrest Gump or walk in the steps of Jesus, and you can literally just walk all across the earth and eat off of handouts. There's no reason why you can't voluntarily be one of those homeless people that goes around and asks for money for a bus ticket. I mean, it's going to make you wildly uncomfortable, and it's also probably not a very good thing if you're ripping people off if you have your own money. But in case it's money you're worried about, it's like you can always find something to do. You can always get into pottery or some shit, right? That's always an option that you actually have. And I find that a lot of people let these past traumas affect us from when we're 0 up until like age 20. And we lock ourselves in this mood of like, oh, I'm such a failure because, my dad was absent, or I didn't get to spend enough time with my mom, or my siblings thought I was stupid and they always bullied me. It's just like, at a certain point, if you're growing up, as much as it hurts to say, you just got to get over it. And the best way to get over it is to assume a new identity, to, try to get rid yourself of all the different addictions that you had when you were younger. Um, and for me, particularly, like, with substances, this is going to get kind of deep, but, like, I've had issues with substances, right? Like, not like anything too difficult, but I've had issues where, for example, alcohol. Like, with alcohol as an example, I can very easily be addicted to it. And I have a very addictive gene based on the gene testing that I did a few years ago. So I know that I can't drink that much, even though, I'm legally allowed to where I live. I can't drink that much because I know that if I drink too much, um, I'll just end up getting very addicted and I'll be out of my own mind and I'll be negatively affected by it. And it does happen from time to time, but then I grow to regret it. And then I just think to myself, like, man, like, you can step up. You can do something better for yourself. And that's actively what I've been trying to do. But I guess what it comes down to is because we let so much of our lives get entrenched by these jobs and all these different responsibilities that we have, and because so much of that trauma affects us, and because we feel like we're stuck in this endless cycle, in this endless loop where we're so attached to the outcomes of our expectations, we no longer have any time for people or real life. And the thing that you should do, especially when it comes to relationships, I figured out, whether they're platonic or romantic, when people go, just let people go. When people come, just let people come. Eventually, if you do this enough times, you're going to find yourself surrounded by reasonable people that truly do want the best for you. And, it's going to be difficult. But over time, you got to accept that people have their own emotional things that they're dealing with that they're not talking about. And that it positively affects you to sort of let that burden go and know that you'll be okay. And there's a lot of these self-improvement guys, right? They talk about this having like an abundance mindset. And it sounds stupid, but it's actually very true. If you feel like, no matter what, you'll be fine, you'll probably be fine. You do actually track with some spirituality or religious stuff, right? People talk about this too. But it is actually true that you attract whatever you fear most in life, right? It's like, if you're afraid of being in a dangerous situation, let's say you're like walking in a grocery store or something, and there's a guy like staring at you, and you're just like, oh, this guy's probably gonna like try to jump me or something. For some reason, the universe then decides, as if you're in some sort of lucid dream sequence, which is very, very well all of our lives could be. But judging on my own weird dreams, but like if you are faced with a situation like that and you decide, oh, this is a dangerous situation, for some reason life will just make it a dangerous situation, just to like test you or just to like show you like, yeah, it is good on you for picking up on that instinct. It's like whenever you go outside and you might need an umbrella and you don't bring an umbrella, it starts raining, whereas the same day or the next time where you do bring an umbrella, it never rains and you just end up being the idiot that carries around the umbrella, right? It's like Murphy's Law or something. Can't quite exactly remember the name of the law. But yeah, everything that can go wrong will go wrong at each single moment. Also, like if you gotta send a package, the postal service will always be closed during that time, right? Whenever you have to turn in an assignment, you log on to your school or your university's homepage, and it says that the professor has extended the deadline. Whereas if you haven't turned in the assignment and the professor has changed the deadline from 23:59 p.m. to or 11:59 p.m. for normal people to noon of that day, and you log on at 1 p.m. and you're just like, oh shit, like this thing that I procrastinated, maybe I should not procrastinate it. Life just works out in a funny way. All we can do, and excuse my fast talking since it's not really therapeutic, all we can do is just pray and hope that it works out. And the best way to do that is just to lay back and not care. If any of you have ever seen Cowboy Bebop, it's just like, things will be as they will be. Let the leaves fall where they may. That one's from Tyler Durden Fight Club. But it's like, everything happens for a reason. You gotta trust that it happens for a reason. You gotta trust that all the pain that you're being put through exists there for a reason. We're all gonna die anyway. There's no point in rushing death. And even when we're in our darkest moments, it can actually be helpful to just reflect on what we had back in the day and how far we've come. And I guess I'll end it off with one very important message that I think everybody should remember if you guys can. You once hoped to have everything that you're currently surrounded with, and you will one day lose everything that you currently have. If you're a married guy with a house and a wife, that house is not going to stand there in that exact place until the end of the universe. I know you'd like to think that it will. It won't. If any of you have ever seen the series of photographs where the woman waves to her parents as she, it's like 20 photographs. She waves to her parents every single day that she visits them and she leaves the house, and you can see that, she's given birth and the parents are getting older, and eventually it goes from the parents being like middle aged, like in their 40s or 50s, to the parents being elderly, and they're smiling, they're happy, and they're waving back, to the guy, her father, being sickly, to it just being her mother because her father passed away during surgery, to it's just being her mother sickly, to it just being an empty driveway with one single car in it, to it being an empty driveway without the car because she and her husband took it as well, to it being her visiting with her kid who is now 6 or 7 years old and it's just a dusty old house and everything is overgrown. That may very well be your life. And if you have a wife, she may very well one day pass away. And in fact, it's guaranteed that she will. And if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it's guaranteed that one day they will break up with you, even if it's on their deathbed or on yours. So everything that you have in life will go away, but at the same time, simultaneously, it's the yin and the yang of it, right? So that's the yang or the yin. I can't remember. I'm not Asian. That's the negative side of it, right? That's the black in the yin and yang. And then you have the white in the yin and yang, which is everything that you currently have you once hoped to own. Like, look around you, literally. Look at your phone. You once bought your phone. Look at your laptop, whatever you're watching this on, right? Either your phone or your laptop or your Xbox or whatever. You once bought the screen on your desktop. You once wanted it, right? You probably didn't buy your hands, but you at least wanted your hands to stay healthy, and hopefully they are. Um, or literally look at the very bare minimum level. Like, what is it? Like 1 in 3 guys wear glasses? Like, literally everything you're seeing around you right now is something that you once hoped to own. You once hoped to be able to have vision. And because you're wearing the glasses on your head, literally everything you see is through the lenses of that which once you hoped to own, your glasses. Right? If you have a water bottle in front of you or a drink, you once hoped to have that drink. You went out to the store today to buy it. If you're eating something or you ate something earlier today, you were excited to eat it. Everything that you have in your entire life is something that you once hoped to own. So what says that the things that you hope to own now, if you let go of desire, they won't find you? And I think that's a nice note to end it on. So if you're ever feeling hopeless or you're feeling down, just remember all of that and play some old Minecraft and shit. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too heavy for you all, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one, and the next episode of hopefully Minecraft for the Ages, if the advice series doesn't take off. So I'll see you guys and talk to you later. Bye bye.